Okay, so this is the first vlog for TE150 and the project in which we had to hang out with an international student and then ask them about their experiences with their education system in their home country, and then also related to what we've learned in class. So my partner's name is David, and he went to high school in West Virginia for about 2 years, and then also 2 years in China, Shanghai specifically. So that's kind of what we talked about. And he explained that the hardest thing for him in high school in America was his English classes, because while he did take two or three ESL classes, he also had to take English classes that were required for him to graduate, that are part of the normal curriculum, and those were very difficult for him. And then he was also explaining that the math classes were easy because there wasn't a lot of talking involved, and he could kind of just read the homework and the tests and just kind of work it through, because he had already learned that kind of stuff over in China, and apparently the math curriculum there is a lot more advanced than it is here, and so he was trying to explain to me. And then he also said that the elementary and middle schools there are paid for by the government, like they are here, but then also all high schools there are more privatized. While a lot of them are still run by the government there, then they still have tuition fees, which is different than here. And then he said that the way that they teach over there is a lot of repetition, and then that's how you memorize the facts and your quiz on those kinds of facts, which is different than what my experience was, because a lot of the way that we were taught, or at least in my experience, was that we had to learn how everything is related to each other, and then there was more context and like contextual questions rather than just recalling certain facts and stuff like that. And then I said that I always enjoyed my English and writing classes, but then I also am not very good at foreign language, and I kind of said to him that I was surprised that he was able to learn English so fast, because he said that he was pretty much fluent within a year and a half, which is astounding to me, because I worked at a Mexican restaurant down the street from my house, and then all the other people there spoke Spanish. I worked there for like 3 years, and I still barely speak any Spanish, even though they were constantly speaking to me in Spanish at work. And like, I can understand a lot of stuff, and then I can say basic sentences that I would use there. But other than that, like, I mean, it's definitely not the same, because it's not, you're constantly living in this new language. It's just more like 6 to 8 hours every other day you are spending in that. And then he also said that he had a hard time making friends for a while he was, after he moved here, because of the language barrier, of course. And then also, he said that the culture was different than what he was used to. People were like a lot more cliquey. I think what he was trying to explain to me, it seemed like at the same time people here are more extroverted, but also like to like hang out with someone for a long time, to like hang out with someone for an extended period of time, form like a really strong relationship in China. But that does the same here, but you don't necessarily need to spend a lot of time with someone to have what's considered a good friendship here. And then also, he was explaining that social events like dances and sporting events were very hard for him, and I kind of related to that because of my Asperger's. I was never a very social person. I didn't go to a lot of the dances because loud noises and crowds just kind of are not my favorite thing, if I'm being honest. And then when he mentioned the way of learning over in China, and he was getting more in depth with like the repetitiveness, my mind immediately went to like scaffolding and the zone of proximal development that we talked about in class, and how it's important for students or the people that are learning to be supplemented in their education. So, like, they need to be able to ask questions and have those questions answered rather than just memorizing the same thing over and over again and hoping that they fully understand the material, which sounds like didn't really happen in his education over in China, whereas my education here in the United States, that seemed to be like a core part of the curriculum. I don't want to go on too long because you said to keep it to 3 to 5 minutes, so sorry if this is a little bit too long. But then, I don't know, we had a really good time, and I'm looking forward to our the next time we hang out. Thank you.